Good evening. It's Cutler here on Let's Talk to Cutler. It's already June 8th. Can you believe it? We are making our way on through the month of June, and I just happen to be biased. I think it's one of the best months of the year, probably because it's my birthday month. So thank you for spending part of my birthday month with me. Listen, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday. I just show up because I want to engage in a conversation to encourage us to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. So what does that mean? It means we look at today because today wasn't a total wash, but we grab some nuggets for the day and we move on until tomorrow. If this is your first time, thank you for joining me. Thank you for whatever space you are allowing me to share. I appreciate that. I show up every Tuesday and Thursday for only 1,800 seconds, trying to make every second significant, every moment matter, and every minute meaningful. Today, I want to talk about several things, but among them, I want to ask you this very serious question. How often are you a comfort space for other people? How often are you a comfort space for other people? And to that extent, how many people do you have that you can consider one of your comfort zones? I want to talk about that as soon as I come right back. But hey, before I come back, make sure that you go ahead and do a like, share, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't, tell other people, Cutler is on. Come on, let's talk to Cutler. I'll be right back.
Let's talk to Cutler. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to Cutler. Woo!
All right, and Cutler is back. Why am I talking about myself in third person? I don't mean to do that. Listen, you all, thank you so much for showing up and sharing your space with me. I appreciate it with my whole heart. I show up here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 o'clock, hoping that I can inspire, motivate, and challenge us all to become better. And we've been doing it this past few months by reading from this book, Billboards to Better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration along the highway of life. It's my seventh book. And I tell you, this is what we do. We look at the quotes from Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we look at the quotes from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And on Thursdays, we look at the quotes from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There is a quote for Saturday, but hey, take it, share it with a friend, use it to start a conversation, use it as part of your meditation if that's what you do. But I'm appreciative. I am so very appreciative for whatever space you allow me to share. If this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor. Make sure that you subscribe, because as one of my friends says, if you have visited and looked at this for over 2 times, you're already a subscriber. So go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and then make sure that you click the notification bell so you'll know when I'm live and when I've uploaded new content. One more thing, as you're joining the conversation this evening, go ahead and do a thumbs up. It encourages my heart. It lets me know that you really like the stuff that we talk about. It also says to YouTube, hey, I kind of like what the guy's talking about over there on that Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. Thank you all again so much for being here. I'm not going to hold your time. I'm not going to waste your time. But I do want to shout out our LTTC VIPs for the evening. They are Wendy Delval. And she says, good evening. Wendy says, good evening, everybody. Jackie Cares RN says, good evening, passengers. She says passengers because as we are riding along the highway of life, we are picking up passengers, picking up fellow passengers. If our car becomes too full, guess what? We got a whole caravan that's going on. There are cars, trucks, and our SUVs and all that stuff behind us. But we're all here together. And then I want to shout out our third LTTC VIP, Sonia Bailey, who says, good evening, everybody. It is a privilege to share this time in this space. So I'm going to go on and start reading our quotes. Today it's going to be from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You know, I had to look up and think, why do people look up when they say, yeah, I got to think. It's probably because they're trying to focus by looking at a blank board someplace. I don't know. But I want to go on to our quotes for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Want to get started with those and then just share this time and space and see what we can glean from these quotes. All right. The quote for June 6th says, whether God says yes or no, you still have an answer. I want to read the anecdote, you all. It says, sometimes the most important thing about God's answer is the fact that he answered. Sometimes the most important thing about God's answer is the fact that he answered. It's not about the yes or the no. Have you ever sat in someone's company? And this is why I started the conversation off the way that I did. I want to know, have you ever sat in someone's company And it didn't matter what they said. But what mattered the most is that you were there. Have you ever sat in the space in a person's company who's like that? Have you ever had instances where the conversation really was not about the quantity of the words, but it was more about the quality of the company? Have you ever had the occasion to just be comforted by the fact that you were sitting in someone's presence, just sitting in the presence alone? And I know, as this quote would may suggest, on a very high plateau, my relationship with God is like that. But I have to admit, you all, that not only is my relationship with God like that, but I have friends, I have family members and relatives, some family members whose presence and company I enjoy, no matter what they're saying, no matter what they're talking about, no matter what the subject of the moment may be. And as I think about that, I want to offer us two sides of the coin today. First, I want to offer us the side of the coin that says be thankful for having those kinds of people in our lives. If you have somebody like that in your life, somebody whose presence you can sit in and you don't care what they say, what they're talking about, what the subject matter might be, but you just enjoy the comfort of being around them, be thankful. Be thankful. Be thankful for those people from whom you can derive strength just by being around them. Be thankful for the people who can pour into your life without talking, who can speak into your life without sometimes saying a word. Be thankful for those kinds of people whose paths you have crossed, because they don't come a dime a dozen, I assure you. Sometimes in our appreciation for things, for the things that we have in life, I think we often overlook the people that we have in our lives. So I'm on the side of the coin tonight, on this side of the coin, just to remind us to be thankful and not to take those moments or those people for granted. Why not take a moment? Why not take a moment and send them a text message, send them an email, send them a card, give them a phone call, just to let them know how thankful you are for having them in your life. You would be surprised the kind of response you get when you send somebody a message that says, hey, I'm just thankful for having you in my life. I think for me, one of the greatest compliments that I will have ever received in this life is someone saying to me simply, I thank God for you. I gave a lot of thought to that. That's the strongest, the most powerful compliment I think I will ever have. When someone says, I thank God for you, that seems to suggest to me that they appreciate my existence. Seems to suggest that my existence and I guess my presence has made a difference in somebody's life. When somebody says, I thank the Creator for creating you, that says a whole lot. So that's just one side of the coin that I want to suggest and want to offer to us tonight. The other side of the coin is this. It's somewhat of a challenge, you all. Not only do I want us to give thanks for having those kinds of people in our lives, but you all know I got to issue a challenge. Not only do I want us to give thanks for having those kinds of people in our lives, you all, but I want to challenge us to be that kind of person for somebody else. If somebody has ever offered you the kind of space where you can sit and be strengthened by their presence alone, why not offer that to somebody else? You know what it's like to sit in the space and in the presence of somebody and feel comfort. Be that. I challenge you to be that for somebody else. If there's someone whose life is so rich to the point where you are blessed by their yes and even their no, that's what I'm talking about. Be that for somebody else. I know that this probably offers you a more different perspective than the quote that's in the book, but I just want you to realize that there are people who would love to have an audience with you. And whether you say yes or no, cat or dog, up and down, it does not matter to them. It just matters the fact that they have an audience with you, that you are saying something, you are giving something, because they see something of value, something rich, something positive, something helpful in what you have to say or how you show up. So I encourage you to just be intentional about finding your audience. No, you don't have to start. I'm telling you all this. You don't have you don't have to start smiling every time somebody pulls out a camera wondering, oh, okay, is this my audience? No, 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 no. I am sure that there are lenses focused on you that you don't even know about. So what am I suggesting? Be deliberate about discovering who wants to have an audience with you. There is somebody, you all, who wants to have an audience with you. And trust me when I tell you this, there really is an audience for you. How, Cutler, do you know that? Because God would not have created you if you didn't have the capacity to make a difference in somebody's life. Here we go. I got to hold on to this seat when I say that, because so many times we forget that we are of value. We are of substance. We have something to offer somebody else. My friends, God would not have created you if you didn't have the capacity to make a difference in somebody's life. So what am I suggesting this evening? That you find your audience and understand it doesn't matter what you say, because your no will save just as many lives as your yes will, because it's who you are. All right. So I challenge you all. Listen, we're just chit-chatting. We're talking from this book here, Billboards to Better. I bet you all didn't know that all these quotes were in this book. They are. Go on and get the book. So it's over on www.gbcutler.com. It's also over on Amazon.com. You don't need the book to join the conversation, but it helps. It gives you all these quotes, and I promise you a little bit more. All right. Hey, if you're just tuning in, do me a favor. Do a thumbs up on the conversation. Let's keep talking. Let's keep riding, because we're on our way to a space called better, and we're not going to show up alone. Got to go to the quote for June 7th, you all. It says, when it comes to God, you should always expect an encounter or an experience. When you come to God, I promise you all, I'm going to put a twist on this that you're not looking for. When it comes to God, you should always expect an encounter or an experience. Why? He creates a whole mood all by himself. He creates a whole mood all by himself. I'm so thankful to have you all joining the chat tonight. Make sure that you do that you share this to other people. Hey, come on over to this conversation. Hopefully there's some good stuff taking place. You all, June 7th, the quote, when it comes to God, you should always expect an encounter. I love parables. I love parables in the Bible. Jesus offered and taught all these parables. He used earthly things to teach heavenly lessons. I want to take this spiritual concept, though, reverse it, and help offer some practical guidance, if I can do that, all right? Because when I think about an experience with God, I think about four things. People always got to count the number of things, but I really do. I think about this, you all. I think about the fact that he knows me. I think about the fact that he gives me the opportunity to know more about him. I think about the fact that we both speak and we both listen. Yes, God speaks and he listens. I also think about the fact that I never leave the encounter without feeling loved and knowing that I can trust him. And I have to confess that as I was preparing and thinking about our chat this evening, it occurred to me, you all, that people who matter to me the most are the ones who offer me those same things. They really are. The people who matter to me the most are the ones who offer me those things. The people who know me, the ones who constantly give me an opportunity to get to know them, the people whom I can sit and not only listen to them, but they get a chance to hear me. And the people who always remind me, not always in words, but just sometimes in deeds, that they love me and that I can trust them. That is what gives me an experience. I think of one of the most overused and underapplied quotes, and we hear this all the time. Tell me if you've heard this quote. The one that says, people might forget what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Let me know if you've ever heard that quote. And I'll give you a sidebar for just a moment. I am probably the exception to the rule, because I remember what people say. I remember what they say to me and how they make me feel. In fact, if I feel a certain way about you, it's probably because I remember something that you said, but that's just a sidebar. All right. That's just a sidebar. But my point today is to challenge us to give people an experience. Give them an experience. Give them the benefit of knowing who you are. Take the time to get to know them. Listen more than you speak. And do your part to make people feel loved. I told you God would not have created you if you didn't have the capacity to make a difference in somebody's life. Make sure that people feel loved around you. Because if they ever develop trust in you, do your very best to never betray it, because trust is something that takes time to build, but only seconds to destroy. Don't ever take people for granted. I've learned that people generally will come to you for one of two things. They either come for guidance or comfort. Think about anybody who has ever come to you for anything. It usually falls within the category of guidance or comfort. If they come for a laugh, because maybe if they want a joke, if they want to laugh in your presence, it might be because they need the comfort of what that joke brings. It might be because they need the guidance of what that joke brings, because the guidance may say to them, don't take life so seriously all the time. That's guidance. To be able to laugh and let things fall off their back, that's comfort, you all. People will come to you for one of two things, comfort or guidance. And I've been blessed in my recent years because people don't typically come to me to waste my time. So as a practice, I do my best to make sure that whenever they come, I try to create and become the mood that they need. Cutler, what are you saying? What do you mean? If you really want to enrich your days, learn how to tap into this thing that we call humanity and truly connect with people. I know we're busy, you all. I know we are so busy doing our own things, navigating life, trying to make it from one day to the next, taking care of our family and our friends and our social circles, you all. But I'm telling you this, the most powerful experience of any day is when you get to encounter another human being. And how many times do we take that for granted? I just want to encourage us. I want to urge us and challenge us to do this. Try to do this within the next couple of days. Slow down. Slow down and enjoy those little offerings from life. What offerings? The offerings where life has allowed somebody to come into your path. And why do I say it? You all stop and enjoy those moments, because those moments really will come to an end. And you want to have seized every opportunity that you could to get to know all about God's creation that you possibly can. Why? Because you want somebody to get to know you. All right, we're just chit-chatting. We're talking. I only have 1,800 seconds not left. I've used up several of those, so I want to go to our quote. Listen, if you don't have this book right here, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration, do me a favor. Go on over to Amazon.com or to my website, www.gbcutler.com, and pick it up. All right, just go over there and pick it up. I'm telling y'all, my goal is to make sure that we share the richness and the wealth of our experiences. That's why I show up. That's why I show up every Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm thankful that you all spend this time with me. I am just as thankful as I can be that you all take the time to spend these few moments with me. The quote for June 8th says this: forgiveness is not a game. You know, it doesn't say that. Cutler, you wrote the book, and that is not what it says. What it says is this: forgiveness is not a trump card in a game of spades. Now, I love to play a good game of spades, and hopefully within the next couple of days, I'll play a good game of spades with some of my good friends. But you all, forgiveness is not a trump card in a game of spades. The anecdote says, don't hold on to forgiveness. Don't flaunt it over people and then dispatch it so that you can emerge as the victor of some battle where scores are kept. Forgiveness is not about keeping scores, you all. Release it just as quickly as you receive it. A few days ago, I was talking with a friend of mine, having this conversation, and I was talking about the power of an apology. The power, yes, we will. I was talking about the power of an apology, the power of forgiveness. You all, because I'm telling you, I've seen businesses dissolve, friendships fail, and marriages crumble simply because people could not reach a space of apology and forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most restorative and redemptive powers ever known to man. It really is. Wars and battles could be avoided if people could reach forgiveness. Marches, riots, and protests, I dare say, those things could possibly be curtailed, shortened, decreased if people could just reach a space of forgiveness. Because forgiveness is not just a concept. It's not just this lofty thing out there in the air, you all. Forgiveness is not just a concept, but it is an action. It is an action. It frames what we do now and how we respond in the future. Forgiveness is about now and more so the future. When I receive forgiveness, I'm just going to share this with you all. When I receive forgiveness, it means that I stand with a clean slate now. But then I have to realize and do my best not to duplicate in the future the behavior that created the offense in the present. I told you all, forgiveness is about present and future. So when I get it, it says you got a clean slate. But it also says you've got to do your level best not to duplicate the behavior that created the offense as you move into the future. Don't do it in the future. Why? When you know better, you do better. And so that's about me getting it. But when I extend forgiveness, I'm telling y'all a whole lot about Cutler this evening, y'all. When I extend it, what does it mean to me? It means that I see the value in people. When I extend forgiveness, it says I see the value in the relationship that we have. I see the value in people. I see the value in sometimes trying it all over again. That's why we forgive people, because we see value in them, in the relationship. One of the things that I've learned about forgiveness is that you don't get to demand it. Nobody gets to demand that you forgive them. Now I want to tell you all about the power that you hold when it comes to forgiveness. Nobody gets to demand that you forgive them. I've also learned that forgiveness is something very serious. It's not something that you tease and taunt other people with. Either you're going to give it or you're not. That's it. If I create an offense, and I've lived long enough to understand that I don't dot every I, don't cross every T. So yes, there's sometimes when I create an offense, but here is the thing. When I ask you for your forgiveness, either you're going to give it or you're not. You're not going to toy with me. You're not going to play with me about it. You're not going to hold it over my head like it's a trump card in the game. Absolutely not. Because when I ask for forgiveness, it means that I see the value in what we have in terms of relationship, but you don't get to play with me and taunt forgiveness and dangle it like a carrot. Either you're going to give it to me or you're not. And yes, I recognize that sometimes it takes time for you to get to that space, and I have to allow you that time, but don't play with me about it, because you don't get to pull it out and use it when it's advantageous to you only. Forgiveness is so that we can stay in the game together, not just so that you or one of us can stay in the game. Forgiveness is a we thing. I've also discovered about forgiveness, y'all, that it's just as much, if not more so, about me than it is the other person. How many of you all can agree that forgiveness, you have realized that it tends to be more about you than it is about the other person? Yeah, because it frees you. It frees you so much. I've learned that why is it about me? Why is it about you? Because you all, please hear me when I say this. You cannot refill yourself with positivity until you've learned to release yourself of negativity. That's forgiveness. You can't refill yourself with positivity until you've learned to release yourself of negativity. I hope I'm inspiring, motivating, and challenging us this evening. I've also learned that I can't look forward to a healthy future until I've learned to release an unhealthy past. That is forgiveness. It's the power that you have to release. I'll tell you this, you all. I've learned that I don't have to accept what you did in the past. Forgiveness does not mean that I accept what you did in the past. But sometimes it means that I just simply get to acknowledge the impact that it has had on me in the present. There's a lot to this thing called forgiveness, and I just wanted to unpack this and unpeel some of the layers and share that with you all. I've learned that if I want to, oh my God, I've learned that if I want to receive more of it, then I should strive and live in a way that I require less of it. It's true. Let me say that again. If you want to receive more of it, then live in such a way that requires less of it. I don't play with forgiveness, you all, because forgiveness is a bridge where either we're going to stand and hug or depart in love. Because it's creating a bridge. Yes, I am moved. I'm moved by that. You all, I think this may be the first time at Juby. I think this is at Juby's first time. So please, you all, send some shout out and love. Say hi to at Juby here in the chat. But yes, you all, if you want to receive more forgiveness, strive to live in such a way that you require less of it. My admonition for us this evening, strive to give it more than you need to receive it. But understand this. Understand that at the moment when you think you don't need it, that's the moment when you need it most. Because I've run into people who say, I don't need forgiveness. I've done nothing to require forgiveness. I don't need that. What I have discovered is that the moment when you think you don't need it, that's the moment when you need it the most. Why? Because none of us are without fault. None of us are without failure. None of us are infallible. Absolutely none of us. We need forgiveness every single day. And as much as we need it, we need to give it. All right, I want to say thank you all so much for spending these 1800 seconds with me. You all know how we do. We read on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We read quotes from this book. We unpack them. We unpeel them. And our goal is to make sure that we drop and share nuggets. And we grab those nuggets so we can show up better tomorrow than we did today. It doesn't mean today was a wash. It means that we share this space and this time so we see, how can I show up just a little bit better tomorrow than I did today? That's why we do this. I hope you all inviting other people to come and tune in and watch and subscribe and just share this word. In these moments, these are nuggets. I wrote this book. Somebody continues to ask me, why did you write it? I wrote this book because these were moments when I was inspired. Moments when I was inspired. And I thought if I could have those moments and I could codify them, write them down, I can always be reminded of how I can be better. I didn't write this for soul searching for anybody else other than me. And I thought that if I go through the process, maybe, just maybe, it'll help somebody else. So I hope this is helping you all. Thank you all so much. I do want to get back and do something. I want to close by sharing a poem that I wrote. I've written 7 books, and most of them are available over on Amazon.com. Out of my book, Thoughts Keep Flowing, I want to share with you as we close this poem. It simply says, there when I need you. We're talking about forgiveness. We're talking about friendships. We're talking about the ability to recognize humanity and appreciate humanity when it comes into our path. This one says, there when I need you. I prosper through my problems, and I flourish through my failures because you are there. You make life worth living, and you keep giving and giving and giving, even when I don't deserve to get. So I win in spite of woes and find favor with my foes because you are there. When I seal my lips and say nothing, shh, you hear me and you are there. So I dance over dismay and run through a rainy day because you are there. I forget to regret, and I recall that you are all that I would ever need. So I joy in my sorrow, longing for tomorrow because you are already there. I want to say thank you all so much for spending these 1800 seconds with me. And until we meet again Thursday, do me a favor, you all. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. And do me this favor. We are in the midst of a pandemic, so make sure that you all stay safe and stay sane. Understand that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be much love. Good night, all.